coming in at number 96, we have Baltimore Ravens defensive lineman Calais Campbell, who, to be brutally honest with you guys, I'm really not looking forward to making this video about. But hold on. Before you click off and leave a dislike and disgust, you got to hear me out for a minute, right? I think for me, the problem is that over the last decade, the 2010s, I would argue that Calais Campbell was the most consistently dominant defensive lineman in the entire National Football League. And yes, that might sound like a hot take to some. What about Donald? What about Watt? This, that, and the other. Well, first off, like JJ, obviously, his highs were higher than Calais's. He was never a 20-sack guy, but at the same time, JJ essentially missed 3 full seasons, whereas Calais only missed a total of 6 games. So when we're talking about consistent and continued dominance week in and week out, I'm going to go for Campbell. And then with Donald obviously being drafted in 2014, basically midway through the decade, that's just a tough sell, right? So in that regard, as highly as I think of Calais, a future gold jacket guy for me, no question, I'd be lying if I said I think he's still at that same level of play as a 34-year-old that turns 35 on September 1st. And, for me, that's just something that I hate to see. And that's why, as you guys can see, he dropped from 37 to number 96 on the list. But with that being said, let's hop into the film and see what it is that I think Calais still does that makes him worthy of a spot here at the back end of my list. One of the biggest misconceptions, I would say, against aging veterans that, maybe Father Time has caught up to is that, they go from fast to slow or strong to weak or good to bad just overnight, right? For the most part, that doesn't really happen, and it's a lot slower of a drop-off as you might think. And I think Calais is a good example of that, where, you're going to see a lot of great stuff in this video, but these are the highlights, right? You're going to see good quickness, good power, good strength coming up, good hand usage, those sorts of things. But, at least on the athletic side of things, I think that you're starting to see maybe a guy that used to, dominate, say, 15 snaps a game just off his athleticism and, physical ability alone. Now that's maybe down to 7 or 8, and 7 or 8 is still really good, right? That's why he's on the list. But at the same time, I just don't quite think he's at the same level that he was. And, maybe before it was dominating for long stretches of games, or, maybe the entire game itself. Now I feel like it's a lot more of a play here, a play there, a burst here, a burst there. That being said, there are a couple of areas where I think Calais still is operating at an incredibly high level, just on a play-to-play basis, right? First of which being his technique, which we'll touch on in a second, but as you can see now, it's really his strength and ability to anchor, as, no matter who he's going up against, whether it's one offensive lineman, a tackle guard combo, tackle tight end combo, no matter what it is, he's very rarely giving up ground at the line of scrimmage. And that's what you're going to see on a couple of these plays where he's not only able to hold up the double team, but on some of these even split it and make a tackle, right? It's just phenomenal stuff where, he's able to use those long arms, get into the offensive linemen, and just bench press them off while sinking his hips and just doing a great job maintaining his leverage, right? He's phenomenal in that regard. Plus, getting into the technical side of things, in terms of his hand usage then, I would say Calais has been one of the best technicians in the entire league over that last decade, and I would say that's still there, right? The only problem is that, maybe that swim doesn't work as consistently when you've lost a step, right? And in that regard, I think he does a lot of the technical stuff well still. I just think that his ability to finish some of those plays isn't quite there, if that makes any sense. But some plays that he is able to finish and still at a high level are the, base up one-on-one run block situations where it's his chance to stack and shed, right? And, for those who are unfamiliar, stacking and shedding, just jabbing your hands in the chest of the defender, trying to bench press them off you, create separation, use your eyes to locate the ball in the backfield, which does play into this IQ and awareness bit here, and then shedding to make a play and make a tackle. Calais is one of the best one-on-one run defenders in the league. And, in large part it is, as I was saying, due to that ability to, see what's going on and take in that information. And then you're going to see some of these radical pass deflections here. He just has a very good instinctual feel for the game, really in all areas, right? And, when you combine that with massive size at 6'8", even though it's maybe not 15 plus plays of dominance game, maybe it is 8 or 9, I still think that's worthy of a top 100 spot, right? So a phenomenal player, a phenomenal career. I am a little bit worried that this could be his last year on the list, right, if trends continue, but there is a chance that last year was just an anomaly, right? It's a chance that COVID off season with a new team in a new scheme, now this year he's going to come out and go crazy, right? Is it realistic though going to be at age 35? I'm not really sure, right? It's tough to go from, you know, having 44 hurries in 2019, just by example, to 14 in 2020 and expect him to, at age 35, bounce back into, you know, that 30-40 range, right? I just don't know how realistic that is. But I do think it's pretty realistic that if you guys enjoyed this video, you can like, comment, and subscribe. That way, whether you're a Calais fan, a Ravens fan, or just a football fan, right, you'll be in the loop for when number 95 goes live, as well as the rest of the players on this list. So, with that being said, I'm mic'd up. Now I'm mic'ing out. Peace, guys.